Today we are going to start second chapter in paper 2B, that is system of circles. System of circles. దీన్ని తెలుగులో వృత్త సరణులు అని అంటారు. వృత్త సరణులు. Weightage in IPE, weightage in IPE is 6 marks. VSAQ1 and SAQ1. Before we discuss the concepts in this chapter, first of all we see what is the meaning of this chapter. Name is system of circles. System of circles means it is collection of circles. So, if you look at the previous chapter, in the previous chapter we discussed problems related to one or two circles. But in second chapter we discussed the problems related to two or more circles. So, we start this chapter by taking angle between two intersecting circles. Two intersecting circles. So, first of all we define angle between two intersecting circles. Angle between two intersecting circles is defined as angle between their tangents drawn at either point of intersection. Suppose I am taking two circles which are intersecting. This is the first circle and this is the second circle. Let us say these are intersecting at the points P and Q. Now, angle between two intersecting circles is defined as angle between their tangents drawn at either point of intersection. That means we can draw the tangents at P or at Q. So, let us take the tangent at P to the first circle. Similarly, you take the tangent at P to the second circle. Now, angle between the two circles is defined as angle between their tangents, that is denoted by theta. You have second point of intersection also. Even if you draw the tangents at the second point of intersection and if you find the angle between them, that will be also theta. That means I take the tangent at Q to the first circle, similarly to the second circle, and this angle is also theta. So, the angle between two intersecting circles is defined as angle between their tangents drawn at either point of intersection. రెండు వృత్తాలు రెండు బిందువుల వద్ద ఖండించుకున్నప్పుడు వాటి మధ్య కోణాన్ని కనుక్కోవడానికి ఖండన బిందువుల వద్ద మనం స్పర్శరేఖలు గీసి ఆ స్పర్శరేఖల మధ్య కోణాన్ని కొలిసినప్పుడు వచ్చే కోణమే ఆ రెండు ఖండించుకునే వృత్తాల మధ్య కోణం అవుతుంది. Now let us take the formula for the angle between two circles. Before I write the formula, first of all I introduce the notation for two circles in this chapter. You already know any circle is denoted by S, that is x square plus y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c is equal to 0. I take it as the first circle. Suppose you want to write the second circle. The second circle is denoted by writing S dash. Its notation is x square plus y square plus 2g dash x plus 2 f dash y plus C dash equal to 0. To learn anything in mathematics, notation plays important role. So you should be thorough with the notation. So in this chapter, two circles will be denoted like this. Suppose you want to take the third circle also. In that case, we write S double dash, and in place of one dash, we write two dashes. So you should remember the notation for two circles. Now I am going to write the formula for angle between two circles. Now I take the first circle as S is equal to 0 and the second circle as S dash is equal to 0. Then the formula for angle between two circles is given by cos theta is equal to d square minus r1 square minus r2 square by 2 r1 r2, where r1 comma r2 are the radii of two circles, and d is the distance between their centers. The distance between their centers. So, if you take the first circle, center of the first circle is denoted by C1 and the center of the second circle is denoted by C2. If you take the distance between them, I join C1 with C2. So, this is the distance between the two circles. Then R1 and R2 are the radii of the two circles. Then by substituting the values using the given two equations, we find cos theta value. From cos theta, you can find the exact value of theta. So, coming to the next point, before I go to the next point, I explain it in Telugu. రెండు వృత్తాలు ఖండించుకున్నప్పుడు వాటి మధ్య కోణాన్ని కనుక్కోవడానికి మనకు అక్కడ ఫార్ములా ఉంది. ఆ ఫార్ములా ఏమిటంటే cos theta is equal to d square minus r1 square minus r2 square by 2 r1 r2. ఇక్కడ r1 కామా r2 అనేవి రెండు వృత్తాల యొక్క వ్యాసార్థాలు, d అనేది రెండు వృత్తాల కేంద్రాల మధ్య దూరం. అయితే ఈ ఫార్ములా మనం రాసే ముందు ఈ అధ్యాయంలో మనకు ఎక్కువగా వచ్చే నొటేషన్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. ముందు చాప్టర్లో మనం ఒక సర్కిల్ తీసుకున్నప్పుడు దాన్ని S is equal to 0 అని రాయటం తెలుసు. కానీ రెండో సర్కిల్ కూడా మనం తీసుకున్నప్పుడు ఆ రెండో సర్కిల్ని S డాష్ అని చెప్పి రాసి ఈ విధంగా రాస్తాం. అంటే Gకి Fకి Cకి ఒక డాష్ తగిలిస్తాం. మీరు మూడో సర్కిల్ కూడా రాయాలనుకోండి, అప్పుడు ఇక్కడ G డబుల్ డాష్ X, F డబుల్ డాష్ Y అండ్ C డబుల్ డాష్ అని చెప్పి రాస్తాం. కాబట్టి మీరు టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ కానీ ఎప్పుడైనా ఓపెన్ చేసి చూసినప్పుడు సడన్గా S is equal to 0 అని రాసాడంటే దాన్ని మీరు ఒక సర్కిల్ అని అనుకోవాలి. S డాష్ is equal to 0 అని ఉంటే దాన్ని రెండవ వృత్తం అని అనుకోవాలి. అలాగే S డబుల్ డాష్ ఈక్వల్ టు 0 అని రాస్తే దాన్ని మనం మూడవ వృత్తం కింద తీసుకుంటాం. సో using this formula, we are finding the angle between two circles. You know, once you find the angle between the two circles, we can discuss various cases. Among all those cases, now I am going to take only one value, that is theta is equal to 90 degrees. If you take theta is equal to 90 degrees, then this cos theta becomes, that is cos 90 equal to 0. In this case, the angle between the two circles is 90 degrees. Therefore, the circles are called orthogonal circles. They are called orthogonal circles. రెండు వృత్తాల మధ్య కోణం కనుక మనకి ఒక లంబకోణం అయినట్టయితే ఆ రెండు వృత్తాలని మనం లంబ వృత్తాలు అని అంటాం. So, if theta is 90 degrees, then the two circles are called orthogonal circles. In that case, this formula reduces to cos theta is equal to cos 90 equal to 0. Therefore, here we write 0, and if you cross multiply, it becomes 0 is equal to d square minus r1 square minus r2 square, or we can write d square is equal to r1 square plus r2 square, r1 square plus r2 square. So this is the condition when two circles are at right angles. So we can say this is the condition for orthogonal circles. This is the condition for orthogonal circles. Based on this condition, we have 2 marks problems as well as 4 marks problems in this chapter. So far we have 3 points. First one is the definition for angle between two circles. The second one is the formula for angle between two circles. And the third one is if theta is equal to 90 degrees, they are called orthogonal circles. And the fourth point is the condition for orthogonal circles is d square is equal to r1 square plus r2 square. Now, what I do is I write alternate form for d square is equal to r1 square plus r2 square. Here we are taking d is the distance between the centers. So I take the two circles like this. S is equal to 0 and S dash is equal to 0. For the first circle, center C1 is minus z comma minus f. For the second circle, center C2 is minus g dash comma minus f dash. And the radius of the first circle, root of g square plus f square minus c. Radius of the second circle is root of g dash square plus f dash square minus c dash. Then I find d value. D is nothing but C1, C2. That is distance between the centers. So you substitute the calculated value of d here and substitute r1 and r2 values, then this condition reduced to 2 into gg dash plus ff dash is equal to c plus c dash. Similarly, if you substitute r1, r2 and d values in this formula, then cos theta becomes c plus c dash minus 2 into gg dash plus ff dash by 2 into r1 root of g square plus f square minus c into root of g dash square minus f dash plus f dash square minus c dash. Now we see only these two formulae. I take cos theta here and this is alternate formula for cos theta. Why he is giving two different formulae? So when we apply the first form and when we take the second form, if the given two circles are in center radius form, then we apply the first formula. This is the first formula I say. Suppose the given two circles are of the form x minus a whole square plus y minus b whole square is equal to r1 square. The second one is x minus c whole square plus y minus d whole square is equal to r2 square. These two circles are called circles in center radius form. If the two circles are in center radius form, then it is easy to find r1, r2 values and d also. Here, center of the first circle is C1, that is a comma b, and the center of the second circle is C2, that is c comma d. Then we find d, that is C1, C2. But when we take the second formula, if you look at the second formula, it is completely expressed in gg dash, ff dash and cc dash. Suppose you are taking the circles like this: x square plus y square plus 4x plus 6y plus 7 is equal to 0, and x square plus y square minus 8y plus 3y plus 11 equal to 0. Here, the first circle is of the form s is equal to 0 and the second circle is of the form s dash is equal to 0. So, if the given two circles are of the form s is equal to 0 and s dash is equal to 0, then we say they are in the standard form. In that case, to find the angle, it is easy for us. Why? Straight away we can substitute C value and C dash. Similarly, we find G, F and G dash and F dash and we simplify. So, these are the two important observations. Now we are going to take one important concept in this chapter, that is radical center, or before that we take radical axis. Radical axis. This is most important concept in this chapter. Almost all 80% of the problems are based on radical axis. Now what is meant by radical axis? This radical axis is defined for two circles. So the definition is like this. The radical axis of two circles is defined as the set of points in a plane, the powers of which with respect to the given two circles are equal. So I write the definition. The radical axis of two circles is defined as a set of points in a plane, the powers of which with respect to the two circles are equal. It is defined as a set of points in a plane, the powers of which with respect to the two circles are equal. So to understand this, first of all I underline the important point, that is powers. In the previous chapter, you discussed power of a point Px1, y1 with respect to a circle S is equal to 0. It is defined as S11. And we have one more point. The length of the tangent drawn from an external point Px1, y1 to the circle S is equal to 0. The length of the tangent is root of S11. Moreover, you can write power is nothing but S11, that is nothing but root S11 whole square. This last relation is useful to explain this definition. What he says, the radical axis of two circles is defined like this. If you use the word two circles, we have different circles like this. The two circles may be non-intersecting. The two circles may be intersecting. The two circles may be touch each other either internally or externally. And the fourth case is one circle lies inside the other. One circle lies inside the other. And the fifth case is two circles are concentric. Two circles are concentric. So, we have to discuss the definition for these five cases. First of all, we take when the two circles are non-intersecting. So I take case 1 when two circles are non-intersecting. Let us take two circles. This is the first circle and it is the second circle, which are non-intersecting. Now I define the radical axis for two non-intersecting circles. It is defined as set of points in a plane. It is defined as set of points in a plane where these points are satisfying a condition, the powers of which with respect to two circles are equal. I take the first circle as s is equal to 0 and the second circle as s dash is equal to 0. Now, I take a point P1 here. Let us say it is x1, y1. You find the power of the point x1, y1 with respect to the first circle, that is denoted as s11. Similarly, with the same point you find the power with respect to the second circle, that is s dash 11. Suppose with this point, if these two powers are equal, then we say this point is a point from this set. Now what I do is, for our convenience, I write s11 as root of s11 whole square and this s dash 11 as root of s dash 11 whole square. You can cancel square root, therefore it becomes root s11 is equal to root s dash 11. That means root s11 stands for length of the tangent drawn from px1y1 or p1x1y1. Similarly, s dash 11 is length of the tangent drawn from the same point to the second circle. Therefore, I draw the tangent from P to the first circle, similarly to the second circle, so that these lengths are equal. Now I take another point P2 and you draw the tangent from this point P2 to the first circle, similarly to the second circle where the lengths of the tangents are equal. Now I take one more point here. Take the tangent to the first circle, similarly to the second circle. Take one more point. Draw the tangent to the two circles. Now, if you observe all these points, P1, P2, P3, P4, all these are satisfying the condition, the lengths of the tangents drawn from these points are equal. Now, these points are satisfying the same condition. Now you join them. If you join all these points, then you will get a path like this. This path itself is called the radical axis. The path itself is called radical axis. So if you observe this figure, radical axis is nothing but a straight line. Radical axis is a straight line. So the definition is the radical axis of two circles is defined as set of points in a plane, the powers of which with respect to two circles are equal. Because it is defined for two circles, we have to discuss these 5 cases. Here I took the first case. In the first case, we observed that when the two circles are non-intersecting, then the radical axis lies between the circles. Then I go to the second case, that is when the circles are intersecting. When the circles are intersecting, how to discuss the radical axis. Now take the second case. The second case is like this. Case 2. Case 2 is when the circles are intersecting. Let us say these are points of intersection P and Q. So, you take a point here in the plane from which you draw the tangent to the first circle, S is equal to 0, similarly to the second circle. So this is the tangent to the first circle. Similarly, you draw the tangent to the second circle where these two lengths are equal. Now I take some other point here. From this point, I draw the tangent to the first circle and the second circle. In the same way, we can take another point here, similarly here. Draw the tangent to the first circle, similarly to the second circle, and one more point, draw the tangents. Now, if you observe these points, all these points are satisfying the condition, that is, the lengths of the tangents drawn from these points are equal. That means these points are satisfying the condition given in the definition. Therefore, if you join these points, we get a line like this. This is the line passing through these points. Now, if you observe this, it is again a straight line. Moreover, this line is a common chord for the two circles. Therefore, it is the radical axis and which is also common chord for two circles. What I want to say finally, when two circles are non-intersecting, then the radical axis lies between the circles. When the two circles are intersecting, then the radical axis is the common chord of two circles. In the next case, we take when the two circles touch each other either internally or externally. So, you take the third case, that is when two circles touch each other externally. So, I take case 3. In case 3, I take two circles. This is the first circle and this is the second circle. Now, the two circles are touching externally. Now, you take a point from which you draw the tangents to the two circles so that they are equal. Take some other point. Draw the tangent from this point to two circles where the lengths of the tangents are equal. Like that, you take another point, draw the tangents to the two circles. Similarly, like this. That means all these points are satisfying the same condition, that is, lengths of the tangents are equal. Now you join all these points, you will get the path of these points. This line is nothing but the radical axis, or you can say this is the common tangent. It is the common tangent for the given two circles. So, the third observation is the radical axis of two circles where the two circles touch each other externally, then the radical axis is the common tangent. Similarly, we can show when the two circles touch internally. In this case, this will be the radical axis and it is also common tangent for the two circles. But if you take the last two cases, when one circle lies inside the other or two circles are concentric, I take case 4. I take the first circle whose center is here, take the second circle, this is the center of the second circle. You take any point you like in the plane and you draw the tangent from this point to the first circle, similarly to the second circle. Clearly, you can say the lengths of the tangents are not equal. So, even if we take one more point, finally we get the tangents of different lengths. That means when one circle lies inside the other, we cannot define radical axis. Similarly, case 5. Case 5 is when the two circles are concentric. Concentric means circles with same center. In this case also, we can't find the tangents with same length. Take any point, draw the tangent. Similarly, you take the tangent from the same point to the second circle. In this case also, we can say these lengths are not equal. Therefore, the radical axis is not defined when one circle lies inside the other or when the circles are concentric. So finally, what we conclude? The radical axis is defined for three cases: when the circles are non-intersecting, when the circles are intersecting, when the circles touch each other either internally or externally. More precisely, the statements are like this: when the circles are non-intersecting, the radical axis lies between the circles. If they are intersecting, radical axis is nothing but common chord. If they touch each other, then the radical axis is nothing but common tangent. The radical axis is the common tangent. So, in this way, we can discuss